The massive ships appeared on a Tuesday morning. They came without warning, their hulls gleaming like polished silver under Earth's sun. All 12 of them, each larger than the largest city on Earth, emerged from what looked like tears in the fabric of space itself. Captain James Walker stood at the command center of Earth Defense Force headquarters, his eyes fixed on the massive display screen. His coffee cup sat forgotten on the desk, growing cold. Around him, dozens of operators worked at their stations, their voices a mix of controlled panic and professional calm. "Sir, the largest vessel is changing course," reported Lieutenant Lisa Brown, her fingers dancing across her console. "It's heading directly for Earth." Walker nodded, his face showing none of the concern he felt inside. 20 years in the Earth Defense Force had taught him to keep his emotions in check, especially in situations like this. Alert all stations. Maintain defensive posture but do not engage. Repeat, do not engage. The UN Security Council assembled within 30 minutes of first contact. The emergency meeting was broadcast globally, a first in human history. Representatives from every nation sat together, their usual political differences forgotten in the face of this unprecedented situation. The alien ship's message came 3 hours after their arrival. "People of Earth," the transmission began, the voice perfectly translated into every Earth language simultaneously. "I am Ambassador Gray of the Galactic Empire. Your world stands at the threshold of a great change. The Empire brings order, prosperity, and protection to all its member worlds. We invite Earth to join our great civilization." The message seemed friendly enough, but Walker noticed something in the tone. He had interrogated enough prisoners in his military career to recognize when someone was giving orders disguised as suggestions. Dr. Anna Reed, the lead scientist at the EDF's Xenobiology Department, confirmed his suspicions during the emergency briefing. The chemical signatures we're detecting from their ships match known weapon signatures, she explained, pointing to her data. "They're powered up and ready to fire. This isn't a diplomatic visit. It's a show of force." The Empire didn't wait long for Earth's response. 6 hours after their arrival, Ambassador Gray's second message dropped all pretense of diplomacy. "Your silence is concerning." The ambassador's voice boomed through global communications channels. "The Empire does not offer membership lightly. Refusal is viewed as an act of hostility. You have 12 Earth hours to accept our generous offer." Walker watched as military units worldwide moved into position. Russian aerospace fighters patrolled their airspace. Chinese orbital platforms shifted into defensive formations. American submarine fleets dispersed to predetermined locations. The Indian Space Command activated its satellite network. For the first time in human history, Earth's military forces moved as one. In the EDF Command Center, Walker received a private message from General Williams. "The Security Council has made its decision." The message read, "Operation Brightwall is now active. God help us all." Walker allowed himself a small smile. For 15 years, humanity had prepared for this moment. The public saw nations arguing about space programs and military budgets. They saw failed rocket launches and satellite malfunctions. What they didn't see were the hidden facilities, the breakthrough technologies, the weapons platforms disguised as communication satellites. "Lieutenant Brown," Walker called out, his voice steady. "Activate Guardian Protocol. All stations on standby." Across Earth, hidden installations hummed to life. Quantum computers spun up their processors. Advanced shield generators warmed their cores. Automated defense systems ran final checks. Ambassador Gray's final message came exactly 12 hours later. "Your time has expired. The Empire notes your defiance. Prepare for pacification." Walker stood straight, his hands clasped behind his back. Around the world, military commanders waited at their stations. Scientists monitored their instruments. Political leaders held their breath. "Send our response," Walker ordered. The message was simple, broadcast on all frequencies in every language on Earth. And one more, the Empire's own tongue. "Earth declares itself a sovereign system. No entry permitted to hostile forces. This is your only warning. The Empire's ships moved forward, their weapons charging. But Earth was ready. Humanity had survived ice ages, plagues, and its own destructive tendencies. It had clawed its way up from caves to the stars. And it wasn't about to bow down now. Walker touched his command console. All units, execute Brightwall. Show them what humanity can do. The battle for Earth was about to begin. The Empire's assessment team arrived in 3 smaller ships, each one still bigger than Earth's largest aircraft carrier. They landed in a cleared area outside Geneva, Switzerland, their arrival carefully watched by millions of hidden sensors. Tom Miller sat in his underground lab, analyzing the data streaming in from these sensors. As the Empire's team emerged from their ships, his computers captured every detail about them. Their environment suits, their weapons, even the way they walked. Everything told a story. "Dr. Reed, you need to see this," he called out, his eyes fixed on the screen. "Their technology. It's all the same." Dr. Anna Reed walked over, her coffee forgotten in her hand. "What do you mean?" "Look at these readings," Tom pointed to his screen. Every piece of their equipment follows the same design philosophy. It's like they haven't had a new idea in centuries. The Empire's assessment team spent the next 3 days examining Earth's major cities. They took samples, scanned buildings, and interviewed selected humans. But they didn't know they were being studied just as carefully as they were studying Earth. In the Empire's database, which they'd arrogantly left unencrypted, Dr. Reed found disturbing information. Another civilization assessment, she read, her voice growing tight. The Centauri system, accepted into the Empire 5 years ago. Current status: Level 3 resource extraction complete. Indigenous population relocated to labor colonies. Tom pulled up more files. Planet after planet, system after system, all followed the same pattern. Join the Empire, lose everything. The Empire didn't want partners. It wanted resources and slave labor. But something else caught their attention. In the database, Earth was marked as Anomaly Type 1. Their assessment team is confused. Tom explained during the emergency briefing with Captain Walker. Our technology doesn't follow their normal development pattern. We have quantum computers, but no standardized anti-gravity. Advanced AI, but no faster than light travel. They can't predict what we're capable of. Walker nodded, a slight smile on his face. Good. Let them stay confused. The assessment team's leader, a tall figure who called himself Inspector Mark, requested a meeting with Earth's military leaders. In a large conference room in the UN building, he faced generals and admirals from every major nation. "Your world is unusual," Inspector Mark began, his translated voice carrying a note of concern. "You fight too much. Your history is filled with warfare. This makes integration complicated. We prefer to call it experience," General Williams replied calmly. The inspector continued, seemingly ignored the interruption. "We've detected numerous weapon systems in orbit. Primitive, but concerning. These will need to be removed before integration can begin." In the underground command center, Walker watched the meeting through secure feeds. "They still think those old satellites are our real defenses," he muttered. "Keep playing dumb, everyone." But the Empire's team wasn't completely fooled. They detected patterns they didn't like. Humanity's adaptability worried them. Earth's scattered power structure confused them. They were used to dealing with worlds that had single governments, single military forces. Earth was different. Humanity had spread its eggs across many baskets. No single point of failure. No central control to target. Final assessment, Inspector Mark announced on the 4th day. Earth requires special handling before integration. Standard protocols are insufficient. Dr. Reed decoded what that really meant from the Empire's database. "They're planning to make an example of us," she told Walker. "A show of force to prove their power." Walker's response was calm. "Let them try." In hidden bases around the world, humanity's real weapons stayed safely concealed. In underground bunkers, quantum computers continued their calculations. In secret facilities, soldiers and scientists waited patiently. The Empire thought they were dealing with a primitive, divided world. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Inspector Mark sent his final report to the Empire's command. Earth represents a potential threat. Recommend immediate pacification. The Empire's response was immediate. Understood. Proceed with display of force. Break their spirit first. They had no idea that Earth's spirit was the one thing that could never be broken. The Empire chose Earth's small research base on Mars as their target. 300 scientists and support staff worked there, studying the Red Planet. At least that's what the Empire thought. They're charging weapons, Lieutenant Brown reported, her voice steady. Target locked on Mars Base 1. Captain Walker stood at his command post, watching the massive screens. All personnel accounted for. Yes, sir. Base personnel evacuated through the underground tunnels last night. Only automated systems remain active. The Empire's largest ship fired a brilliant beam of energy at the Mars base. The blast was meant to vaporize the facility, to show Earth what happened to those who defied the Empire. Instead, something unexpected happened. A shimmer appeared in the air around the base. The energy beam hit this invisible wall and scattered, spreading harmlessly across the shield's surface. When the blast ended, the Mars base stood untouched. In the Empire's command ship, Ambassador Gray stared at his screens in disbelief. Impossible, he muttered. Their technology level doesn't allow for shields of this strength. That's when Project Director Robert Wilson made his move. From his command center deep under the Rocky Mountains, he pressed a single button. Time to show them our real fleet. Across the solar system, hidden bases activated. What looked like asteroids split open, revealing sleek warships. What appeared to be abandoned space stations transformed into military vessels. Hundreds of ships, all built in secret over the past 15 years. This is Director Wilson of the Earth Defense Fleet. His message broadcast on all frequencies. You are in violation of sovereign space. Withdraw immediately. The Empire's response was predictable. They fired again, this time at multiple targets across Mars. Each shot was absorbed by increasingly visible shields. Walker smiled as he watched the Empire waste their energy. They still think this is all we have. Director, show them Phase 2. Wilson nodded at his control panel, activating defense platforms. Around Earth, what the Empire thought were simple communications satellites revealed their true nature. Weapon systems powered up. Shield generators hummed to life. A web of defensive systems, hidden in plain sight for years, activated all at once. Impossible. Ambassador Gray's voice cracked as he transmitted. You can't have this technology. We would have detected it. You detected what we wanted you to detect. Walker replied calmly. Earth has never been defenseless. We've been preparing for threats like you for decades. The Empire's ships moved into attack formation, their weapons charging for a full assault. They still believed their superior numbers would prevail. That's when Earth revealed its biggest surprise. Guardian Fleet, deploy, Wilson commanded. From behind the moon, Earth's actual military fleet appeared. Not the decoy ships revealed earlier, but the real force. Ships built with technology the Empire couldn't understand. Quantum-powered engines, AI-driven targeting systems, shields based on principles the Empire had never discovered. By the ancient stars, Ambassador Gray's voice wavered. What are you? We are humanity, Walker replied. We spent centuries fighting among ourselves. We learned to hide our strength, to prepare for the worst, to survive against all odds. And now we're ready to defend our home. The Earth fleet moved into position, their formation perfect. Each ship was smaller than the Empire's vessels, but there were thousands of them, and each one carried weapons the Empire had never seen before. This is your final warning, Walker announced. Leave our solar system, or find out exactly what humanity does to invaders. Ambassador Gray's response was different now. Gone was the arrogant tone. Gone was the certainty of victory. For the first time in centuries, the Empire faced something it didn't understand. And in the Empire's command ship, a terrifying thought began to form. What if they had finally found a species they couldn't conquer? The battle that would answer that question was about to begin. The Empire struck first in the digital realm. Thousands of computer probes hit Earth's networks all at once. They expected to find primitive defense systems. Instead, they met Guardian. Tom Miller watched from his console as the AI defense system came alive. "They're trying to hack our main defense grid," he reported, but there was no worry in his voice. "Guardian is responding." On the massive screens, streams of data flowed like rivers. The Empire's best computer systems, developed over thousands of years, clashed with humanity's quantum AI. It wasn't even close to a fair fight. "Their attack code is old," Tom said, surprise in his voice. "They haven't updated it in centuries. Guardian is tearing it apart." Admiral Peter Stone stood watching from the command center's upper level. "Send in our counterattack. Let's show them what real hacking looks like." Guardian launched its response. The AI, developed in secret by Earth's best programmers, slipped through the Empire's defenses like they weren't even there. Within minutes, it had access to their entire battle network. "Sir," Lieutenant Brown called out, "Guardian has control of 3 Empire ships. Their engines are shutting down." In the Empire's command ship, panic spread. Their best computer experts tried to stop the invasion, but they couldn't understand how it was happening. Their systems had never failed before. "What kind of technology is this?" Ambassador Gray demanded over the emergency channel. "This cannot be possible." Admiral Stone's reply was calm. "You assumed we were primitive because we developed differently than you. That was your first mistake. Humanity doesn't follow your rules of technological progress." More Empire ships began to drift, their systems taken over by Guardian, their weapons powered down. Their shields flickered and died. The mighty Empire fleet was being defeated without a single shot being fired. In his underground lab, Tom accessed the Empire's historical database. "Look at this," he called to Dr. Reed. "They stopped developing new technology 500 years ago. They just kept copying the same designs over and over." Dr. Reed nodded as she studied the data. "They got comfortable. They forgot how to innovate. But humanity, we never stop learning," Tom finished. "Never stop improving." The Empire made one last desperate attempt. They launched their most powerful computer virus, something that had destroyed entire planetary defense systems before. Guardian didn't just stop it. It absorbed it, learned from it, and sent it back improved. Half the Empire fleet went dark. "This is Admiral Stone to all Empire vessels," Stone broadcasted. "Your ships are now under our control. Your weapons are disabled. Your engines are shut down. Surrender, or we will be forced to demonstrate our military capabilities as well." Ambassador Gray's voice had lost all its arrogance when he responded. "How? How did you develop such technology without us knowing?" "Because we didn't follow your path," Stone replied. "We didn't build the same things you did. We found our own way. While you were perfecting faster-than-light travel, we were developing quantum computing. While you were building bigger ships, we were creating better AI." In the command center, Captain Walker received a message from world leaders. They had made their decision. "Ambassador Gray," Walker spoke clearly, "Earth now controls your fleet. Your choice is simple. Leave our solar system or lose your ships completely. We will keep one vessel as payment for your hostile actions. The rest can leave with you." The Empire had never faced defeat like this. They had never met a species that could outthink them, outmaneuver them, and overcome them without firing a single shot. "Send the retreat signal," Gray's defeated voice came through. "The Empire withdraws." But everyone knew this wasn't the end. The Empire had just suffered its first major defeat in over 1,000 years. They wouldn't forget. They wouldn't forgive. And humanity would be ready when they returned. General Mary Cooper stood on the bridge of the Earth battleship Thunder, watching as her fleet moved into attack position. After the Empire's failed invasion of the solar system, humanity had decided that defense wasn't enough. It was time to take the fight to them. Operation Bright Shield is ready to begin, her tactical officer reported. All ships report ready. Cooper nodded. Send the signal. Release the sleeper probes. Across the solar system, thousands of tiny probes activated. They had been hidden in asteroids, buried in moons, floating in space disguised as debris. Now they came alive, their quantum engines powering up. Probes launching. The officer announced. Target: Empire supply lines. In the Empire's territory, their supply ships suddenly found themselves under attack by swarms of Earth drones. The tiny machines were nearly impossible to hit, and their weapons cut through Imperial shields like they weren't even there. Back on Earth, Tom Miller monitored the attack from his console. The drones are performing better than expected, he reported to Dr. Reed. The Empire's ships can't track them. Their targeting systems are too rigid, too predictable. Dr. Reed smiled as she watched the data flow in. They never expected us to think this way. Their military doctrine hasn't changed in centuries, but we never stop adapting, Tom finished. On the Thunder, General Cooper received the first reports of success. Empire supply ships were either retreating or being disabled. Their defense platforms were going dark one by one. And still, they hadn't managed to destroy a single Earth drone. Ma'am, her communications officer called out. We're detecting Empire battleships approaching. They're charging weapons. Cooper's expression didn't change. Time to show them our other surprise. Enable antimatter weapons. The Thunder's main gun powered up, antimatter swirling in its chamber. This was technology the Empire had never developed, had never even thought possible. They had stopped looking for new ways to fight centuries ago. The first Empire battleship fired, its energy beam cutting through space. The Thunder's shields absorbed the hit without strain. Return fire, Cooper ordered. Single shot, low power. The antimatter beam lanced out, striking the Empire ship. Its shields, the best in the Empire's fleet, didn't even slow the beam down. The massive vessel split in half, its reactor going dark. Send the message, Cooper commanded. Across all frequencies in every language the Empire used, Earth's warning played. This was a demonstration. Withdraw from this sector, or face the consequences. Earth is not alone anymore. Other worlds will join us. Your reign of terror is over. In the Empire's command center, their leaders watched in horror as reports came in. Supply lines cut, defense platforms destroyed, ships disabled or destroyed. And they still couldn't understand how Earth had developed such technology. Battle analysis complete, Tom reported from Earth. Empire ships are retreating from all engagement zones. Operation Bright Shield is a success. But the real victory wasn't just military. As news of the Empire's defeat spread, other worlds began to take notice. Species that had been conquered centuries ago started to whisper about resistance, about freedom, about Earth. General, Dr. Reed's voice came through on the Thunder's command channel. We're receiving transmissions from multiple systems. They want to know how we fought back. They want to learn. Cooper smiled. Tell them everything. The Empire stayed strong by keeping worlds isolated, afraid. Let's show them what happens when we work together. The Empire had ruled through fear for thousands of years. They had forgotten what it meant to face a species that refused to be afraid, that refused to submit, that refused to stop growing, learning, adapting. They had forgotten what it meant to face humanity. And now, they were about to learn the price of that mistake. News of Earth's victory spread through the galaxy like wildfire. On thousands of worlds, enslaved species watched recordings of Earth's ships defeating the Empire. They saw the mighty Imperial fleet retreat. They saw hope. Dr. Anna Reed worked day and night in her lab, speaking with representatives from other worlds. Her computer screen showed faces of all shapes and sizes, beings who had lived under Empire control for centuries. Earth's defense systems are different, she explained to a group of resistance leaders. We don't rely on single weapons or ships. We spread out our strength, make it impossible to defeat us with one strike. The alien leaders listened carefully. They had never thought to fight this way. The Empire taught us that resistance was impossible, one leader said, his translated voice filled with emotion. But you proved them wrong. Tom Miller interrupted the meeting, rushing into the lab with important news. Dr. Reed, you need to see this. The Empire's control is breaking. 3 systems have already declared independence. On the main screen, a map of the galaxy showed spreading points of light. Each one represented a world or system rising up against Empire control. The rebellion was spreading faster than anyone had expected. Captain Walker watched from the Earth Defense Force Command Center as reports came in. The Empire's trying to fight back, he noted, but they can't adapt fast enough. They don't know how to handle multiple enemies using different tactics. That was the key to Earth's success. While the Empire stuck to their ancient battle plans, humanity had taught others to fight unpredictably. Each rebel world used different strategies, different weapons. The Empire's rigid military couldn't keep up. Sir, Lieutenant Brown called out, incoming transmission from the Blue Star system. They've taken control of their orbital defense platforms. The Empire fleet is retreating. More victories followed. The Empire had grown weak over centuries of easy rule. They had forgotten how to face real challenges. Now they face thousands of worlds fighting in thousands of different ways. In her lab, Dr. Reed worked with Tom to create a secure communication network for the rebel worlds. They used Earth's quantum technology to build something the Empire couldn't track or block. Each world can now share information instantly, Tom explained to the resistance leaders. You can warn each other about Empire movements, share battle tactics, coordinate attacks. The Empire tried to stop the rebellion the only way they knew how, with brute force. They sent their biggest ships to crush the rebel worlds. But Earth had taught the rebels well. Another Empire defeat, Walker announced, reading the latest report. The Green Sun system used our drone swarm tactics. The Empire lost an entire battle fleet without destroying a single rebel ship. The rebellion grew stronger each day. Worlds that had been enemies under Empire rule now worked together. Species that had never spoken to each other shared resources and knowledge. Earth's example had shown them a better way. In the Empire's royal palace, their leaders faced a truth they couldn't accept. Their perfect system was falling apart. Each defeat brought more rebellions. Each victory by the rebels inspired more worlds to fight back. We're receiving a new transmission, Lieutenant Brown reported. The Empire's Third Fleet just surrendered to the rebels. Their crews are requesting asylum. Even the Empire's own people were starting to question their leaders. Centuries of rigid control were crumbling in the face of freedom and innovation. Dr. Reed smiled as she watched another system declare its independence. The Empire thought they could stop change by controlling everything, she said. They didn't understand that change is what makes us strong. The galaxy was transforming. The old order was dying. And at the center of it all stood Earth, showing the way to a future without Empire control. The revolution couldn't be stopped now. It could only grow stronger. 6 months after Earth's first contact with the Empire, the galaxy had changed forever. The mighty Empire that had ruled for thousands of years now controlled only a fraction of its former territory. In Earth's solar system, representatives from hundreds of free worlds gathered for a historic meeting. Admiral Peter Stone stood at the main window of the space station Unity, watching as ships from across the galaxy arrived. Each one represented a world or system that had broken free from Empire control. It's time, Captain Walker said, standing beside him. They're ready to begin. The station's main hall was filled with beings of all shapes and sizes. Some breathed different gases, others floated in special tanks. But they all shared one thing. They were free. General Cooper took her place at the speaking platform. Welcome to Earth's solar system. She began, her words translated into hundreds of languages. 6 months ago, we stood alone against the Empire. Today, we stand together as free worlds. On the massive screens behind her, images showed the Empire's remaining territory. It had shrunk to just a few central systems. Their once mighty fleets were scattered. Their control centers had fallen. Earth hereby declares this solar system as sovereign space. Cooper continued. But we do more than that today. We declare the formation of the Alliance of Free Worlds, a place where all species can live and grow without fear. Dr. Reed and Tom watched from their seats as the alien representatives cheered. Their work had helped make this possible. Earth's technology had given others the tools to fight back, but it was Earth's ideas about freedom and cooperation that had truly changed the galaxy. The Empire ruled by keeping worlds apart, Tom whispered to Reed. We won by bringing them together. Lieutenant Brown, now promoted to captain, delivered the latest intelligence report. The Empire's last major fleet has surrendered, she announced to the gathered representatives. Their crews are requesting to join the Alliance. This news brought more cheers. The Empire's own people were choosing freedom over control, change over stagnation. Ambassador Gray, the same one who had once threatened Earth, now stood before the assembly. He looked older, tired. On behalf of the former Empire's provisional government, I am here to formally recognize Earth's independence and the independence of all Alliance worlds. Walker allowed himself a small smile. Not how you expected this to end, is it, Ambassador? No, Gray admitted. We thought we were the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. We were wrong. We stopped growing centuries ago. But humanity, you never stopped. You showed us all a better way. The new alliance would be different from the Empire. Each world would keep its independence. They would share knowledge, trade freely, and defend each other. But no one would rule over the others. Earth will serve as guardian and teacher, Cooper announced. Our solar system will be a sanctuary for any species seeking freedom. Our technology and knowledge will be shared with all Alliance members. Dr. Reed presented the final part of the plan. We've established the Galaxy Academy here in our system. Scientists and scholars from all worlds can come to learn and share ideas. Together, we'll create technologies and solve problems the Empire never dreamed of. As the assembly ended, Admiral Stone and Captain Walker stood again at the window, watching the ships of their new allies. Think they'll ever try to rebuild the Empire? Walker asked. Stone shook his head. They can't. We didn't just defeat their fleets. We showed the galaxy a better future, one where every species can grow, change, and reach their full potential. Just like humanity, Walker added. In the space around them, ships from 100 worlds moved in perfect harmony. The galaxy had entered a new age, and it had all started with one simple message. Earth declares, no entry for Galactic Empire. The declaration that had changed everything.